Congressman Bob Good here with your weekly Good News from Washington. And just yesterday, you had one of our members file a motion to vacate that forced a vote on whether to move forward with a vote to remove Speaker Johnson. And I voted against moving forward, or voted to table that motion, because while I think Speaker Johnson has failed us in many ways and has continued the previous practice with Republican leadership of passing significant legislation with predominantly Democrat votes, I don't think 6 months before an election with a very narrow 2-vote margin that we should be removing the speaker and entering into the uncertainty that could result in a Democrat speaker even with this kind of a margin, or a more compromised Republican speaker that Democrats support. So again, I voted against moving forward with that, and I'm glad that that effort failed yesterday. Latest bill that I introduced is the SHUSH Act, which or Silencers Helping Us Save Hearing Act, and this would deregulate suppressors at the federal level and preempt state law that regulates taxes or prohibits the possession of suppressors, which are an important accessory to firearms for many Americans. During our committee hearings this week, I had the opportunity to question Secretary Cardona, the Secretary of Education, and to really challenge him on student loans. Does he and the Biden administration believe that individuals should pay their own student loans, or should taxpayers be forced to pay other people's student loans? And frankly, with him and President Biden pushing so hard to transfer student loan debt to taxpayers, should we even be continuing to make student loans if we're not going to be asking people to pay them back? We also had a hearing in my budget committee about the border invasion, and so the witnesses that were there, I was challenging them with the fundamental question: how many people from around the world should we be allowing to enter the United States? Certainly we shouldn't be allowing anyone illegal, but how many of the world's 7 billion population that don't live in the United States would come here if they could, and how many should be permitted to enter, whether legal or illegal? Certainly none illegally should be permitted to enter. And then should the United States decide who gets to come here, or do people around the world have the right to come to the United States? That seems to be the view of the Biden administration, that people have the right just to come here legally or illegally, and to break our laws if necessary to come here. I continue to fight against that in Washington, as you know. Finally, on that note, I submitted an appropriations request to protect President Trump's border wall and to try to prevent the Biden administration from deconstructing that and tearing down the border wall. Incredibly, the Biden administration does not want to have a border wall, as I think you know. Well, thank you for the privilege of representing you in Washington.